Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Sebastian, a medical student from Australia. And today I'm going to be showing you how I use Notion for medical school, for YouTube, for organizing my life, and how it's pretty much revamped my whole workflow and improved my productivity a lot more than I expected. So if you don't know what Notion is, it's an all-in-one workspace where you can put down your notes, information, create databases. I've been using Notion for about a year and a half now. I started using it at the end of first year and now I'm halfway through third year. So I've gained a little bit of experience with the application since then. And big thanks to Notion for sponsoring this video. So it was a bit of a no-brainer when they reached out to make this happen. I love the app and I thought I wanted to show you guys how I've been using it. So getting straight into it, looking at my homepage here, which is not super useful, but I really like it because it creates an aesthetic and it's a way that I can think about different aspects of my life. What's cool about Notion is that everything's customizable. So you can add your own personal touches to the app so that you enjoy using it, and so you can add your own little bit of flair, so you can change these little icons here to whatever you like. You can change the cover, go look up a picture, I don't know, home, and you can find a different house if that's what you like. And looking at this, I have 4 different tabs. I have my main tab, which is my life operating system, which I'll get to in a second, everything medical school related, and then a grow tab, which is things that I'm working on in terms of skills. So I'm currently learning Mandarin Chinese, a library where I take some notes on important books that I'm reading, my training diary and my journal, and then the earn section, which is more of the business side of things like YouTube and tutoring, and then any miscellaneous life things that I might have. But starting here, at my life operating system, this is pretty much a glorified calendar. It's kind of like a calendar and a to-do list all mashed into one. So full credit to August Bradley for showing me how to put this together. He's got some great videos on Notion, so be sure to check him out. So having a look at today, which is the 23rd, it's a Sunday, and we're in week 21 of the year. It's my week off. I'm in between rotations. I had general practice rotation last week, and I'll be starting my surgery rotation tomorrow. So a more standard approach to writing down your tasks would be creating a to-do list. And you can do it simply like this. You can make a heading like to-do list, and you make a little list view, and then you can say pre-reading, finish in that lecture, and then you can tick them off as you go along. But what I like about setting my tasks up in a calendar format like this is that you can set the date of them. You can also arrange them by priority. So having a look from the top, doing the laundry is listed as a quick thing to do, which should take no more than half an hour. I can quickly do it sometime during the day. So then my first priority is to work on the Notion video. And then I have some pre-reading for my orthopedic surgery rotation starting tomorrow. And then 30 minutes of reading is third priority. And then I have a few other tasks which I just want to remember to do if I get the chance. And so generally how I like to organize my days, the night before I'll write a list of all the things on the tasks that I have to get accomplished the next day. That way I can frame my mind, make sure that I'm on track and I'm not worried about, ooh, what's the next thing that I can do? It kind of helps me to stop procrastinating because I know that there's a specific amount of things that I need to get done and I just go down my list, no questions asked. And so for today, I've actually done the laundry, so I can tick this off as done. And when I tick it off as done, it disappears from my task list. And so let's take a hypothetical day. Say it's Wednesday the 19th, and I'm trying to organize my day for Thursday the next day. I might have a few things on that day. I might have an anatomy lecture in the morning. So I'm gonna put a Nat 1001 lecture, and I'm gonna say this is a scheduled class. It starts at 9 a.m. and it finishes at 10:30. And so now clicking away, I can see that I have my ANAT lecture scheduled the next day. And now let's just add a few more things to this. And so now I've got all my lectures scheduled, and I might want to add some things that I'll be doing during the day while I've got that off time. And so say I wanted to work on an ethics report, so let's put this as a first priority. And say I want to do some mathematics homework, and I'll put this as second priority, organize my notes from biology 1001, and I'll put that as third priority. Now I'm looking at this and I'm sort of developing what's my schedule for the next day, so I know exactly what's going to happen. And then I might also have something else during the day that's not really academic related, it's just more of a life thing. So I might have to buy ingredients for chicken curry. And I'll put that as an errand. And so say now it's Thursday and I go through my lectures. So I finished my Nat 1001 lecture, so I'll tick that off. But I haven't yet finished organizing my notes from biology 1001. So what's really good about this calendar method of making my tasks is that I can quickly move it to the next day. So if I didn't manage to finish it on Thursday, that goes straight to Friday. And then I might make this my first priority. And say I didn't actually manage to make the chicken curry yesterday, I got some takeout. I'll go to the shops today and make a chicken curry tonight. So what you can see is that it's powerful because you can move your tasks from day to day. You can have a way of visualizing everything before you, so you know exactly what your next day and what your week's gonna look like. Another important thing about organizing a calendar like this is not adding too many tasks during the day. So say I had a lot of things to do. I find that you don't want to schedule more than 4 to 5 things, because what happens is that you run out of time. If you're going to put, I'm going to do my assignment, I'm going to write my report, I'm going to do my research project, do some Chinese speaking practice, organize my notes, there's really not enough time in the day, and you'll feel guilty if you don't accomplish all of it. So it's important to make sure that you're grouping your tasks into big categories. So right now, I don't have too many tasks because I've been on a week off, but if I looked at my next week and realized that, oh my gosh, I have the whole calendar filled, I have to think about, what am I going to prioritize? What tasks do I want to postpone into the weekend, and what tasks do I want to get accomplished in the next 1 or 2 days? And what's great about this is because you can access Notion through your phone or your other devices, you can quickly write tasks or notes on the fly. So just having a quick look at Notion on my phone, and say I got an email that there's going to be an anatomy tutorial tomorrow afternoon. I can quickly put in an anatomy tutorial, I'll put it in as a scheduled class, and because it's Sunday, it's going to be on the Monday, and I want to include a time for it, and it's going to be at 9 a.m. So I click done, and I put that straight onto my calendar, and then having a look back onto my computer, say if I was out for the next 3 hours and then I got home that night, and everything that I've added in is directly onto my calendar. And so having a look at the top, if you don't want to have a visual calendar view of what you've got coming up, I like to look at it in terms of what tasks do I have today in a more list format, and then tomorrow, and then in the upcoming week. And I like to organize what category these tasks fall under, because if they're medicine related, they will go onto my medicine page, which I'm gonna show you guys now. So this is the bread and butter of how I've sort of kept on track with medical school, especially with all the different information that we have to learn, and just having a place where I can put all my information. So I'm currently in 3rd year, which is my clinical years, where I have to be mainly in the hospital doing things on the ward, so it's less about lectures and seminars and going to campus. So throughout the 2 years, I have a bunch of different clinical terms to do. So I have internal medicine, community, which I just finished, my general practice rotation, starting on surgery, then women's health, so on and so forth. And I've organized them into this sort of gallery format, and so it's where I store all the information for my different rotations. And coming back to the task list that I had before, you can see that because I put them as medicine related, they'll come under this little task list in my medicine page. So these are the tasks that are due soon, and by soon I mean today or tomorrow. And then I have all my medical related tasks which I can see, and then the due dates are here. So I know that this task is not due until July. So I've got plenty of time to do that. And so coming back to the clinical terms, I just finished with general practice. So I have this little page here, but then within this page, I can open it up and it's got way more information. And so our curriculum for general practice is that our university gave us a bunch of different patient presentations, patient vignettes, related to a bunch of different topics specific to general practice. I've got, I think, 14 topics here. If I want to open one up, so this one's called Checkup. And again, this is a new page with then even more information, so I'm going to expand this page, and the topic is lifestyle intervention, bowel cancer screening, and PSA testing. And I've got my case description here. Tom, 54-year-old plumber, he's come in for a complete checkup. And we got given a bunch of different questions to answer related to this case. And so I've made little toggle lists for each question. So I'm going to close them all down here. And so when I'm reviewing this, coming back to these notes that I wrote, having the toggle list means that I can actively think about the answer or the information before I get to see it. So what do I want to know today? So I'm going to open it up, and you can see all my information. I want to know about his blood test results, family history, smoking status, and the like. And then if I open up question 2, there's more information here. Question 3, we can see that there's an Australian absolute cardiovascular risk calculator, and I put what Tom's risk would have been. And this little snippet of information is a call out. So it's telling my brain that, remember this, Seb, like you don't want to forget this. I can go /call out, and this creates a little light bulb, and I can say that the first line drugs for treating hypertension are ACE inhibitors, ARBs, calcium channel blockers, and thiazide-like diuretic. And once I put this in, I might want to highlight these 4 drugs, super important, and I want them to stand out when I'm reviewing this. And then I have more information about some more second line drugs, and then little screenshots from any of the websites that I'm using. And you can also embed URLs to any links that you've been using. So this is to the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners website, which gives really good information, and everything's all in one place. And then I can go back to these modules, and each one has its own set of questions and information. And that's what I was working through general practice. I'd go through the case presentations, write down notes, and then come back to it and ask myself those questions again. And then I also have notes from my sexual health modules. And so everything's sort of stored in this one place. So what I like about Notion is that everything looks organized, everything is customizable, and you can change the different colors, and the different displays of how the information is presented. So with this little gallery view, you can actually change the properties. So instead of making the card preview the content of it, you can make it the cover. So not all of these little pages have covers, but if they do, it'll show you here. You can also change the card size. So I've made it small to keep it minimal, but you can make them large. You can make them medium size. So I'll put this back to small and I'll put this back to page content. And you can also display what shows. So I only have the title here, but you can put the code of it. You can show any files that you've attached. And so it's fully customizable, and however you want to present your information, it's up to you really. And so if I wanted to go about fleshing out one of these pages, how do you write your notes? How do you make it look organized or pretty? So say I have surgery here, which I have not really put anything into surgery yet because I've yet to start. A bunch of different headings that you can make. Heading 1, 2, 3. So this is just using the command Control Shift 1, 2, or 3. And so I might make the main heading important surgical concepts, and then I might have a list of things that I want to go through. So appendicitis, small bowel obstruction, large bowel obstruction, what is a Whipple's procedure. I don't want them to be dot points. I actually want to make them toggle lists. So you can have the option to make them all toggle lists, and then I'm going to open them all up, and I can chuck in information to whatever's relevant, or any links or resources to any lectures that I have on them, or any YouTube videos or tutorials that I found on these concepts. And so over time, I'll slowly flesh these out. I can change the color of this bar, so I can make this purple background. I can add other titles, so surgery videos, and then I'll make this a heading. And so how information on Notion is organized is into these little blocks. So you can make an unlimited amount of blocks, and I'm going to move this block to this side. So you can sort of split screen your information. You can change the font here to what you like. And so with time, you can flesh out your own page with whatever subject or topic that you're learning about. And so coming back to my medicine page, last year I spent a lot of time doing lectures, and we had somewhere between 8 to 12 lectures per week. And so there was a lot of theory getting thrown at us. And so during this time, I was using Notion as an organizational tool to keep me on track with what lectures I have coming up. And a lot of you guys were asking me how I made the study tracker. So having a look at one of my blocks, I'll go to endocrine and reproductive system. And so opening it up, I have my endocrine study tracker here. And it's a big, complicated looking thing, but it's really not that complicated. It's just a glorified Excel spreadsheet essentially. And so having a look at it, I spread all the content by the different weeks. So we have week 1, week 2, 3, 4, 5, and I did a sort of rainbow pattern as you went along. So it starts with red, goes all the way down, and there was 9 weeks in this block. And then I have what was the content type. Was it a lecture? Was it a seminar? Was it a practical? The title of the lecture. What subject did it fall under? How many reviews did I do with that topic? When was the date that I last reviewed it? And how difficult I rated it from 1 to 5. 5 being super difficult, 1 being pretty easy. Shout out to Rachel Southard, who gave me the inspiration for assigning a difficulty to the lectures. So if I was starting in week 1, I'd write down all the lectures that I had that week. And I hadn't yet completed them, so the reviews would have been 0, the difficulty would have been unknown, and I wouldn't have attached my notes yet because I generally use my iPad and Notability to annotate the notes while I'm going along and then upload my annotated notes once I'd completed the lecture. And so why I like having this is that you can visually see everything that you need to do. And you can sort this table according to what's important to you. And so maybe you want to start reviewing the most difficult or challenging lectures that you had through the term. And because you've been assigning a difficulty to each of them, you can simply sort them in descending order, make this in the priority, and so it's going to assign all your lectures in order of difficulty. So this here, abnormal menstruation, case conference on pelvic pain, these were 5 out of 5 difficulty. I only reviewed them once at the time, so go figure, a lot of these were only reviewed once, and no wonder they were high difficulties. So if I was trying to prioritize, I'm going to do the content that I'm really weak at first, I'd come to this study tracker, organizing by difficulty, and start going down the list. And say I'd finished this lecture and I'd had a second review, I'd put my second review completed, I'd change the date of my last review to today's date, and I'd assign the difficulty to 2. And once you put it to 2, it comes all the way down here. So it's less of a priority. And if you wanted to go sort back to what you originally had, you just can move this sort option all the way back down. And so how I've sorted the table so far is I organize it by week in an ascending order. So it's organized by week, and then by class type, so it's nice and neat. Then by order, so 1 to 10. And so I did this for each of my blocks. So coming back to all my block master lists, I did this for my renal block, and then I also had it for oncology. And so what's cool about this is that all these study trackers is linked to the original content master list, which is put here. And so for us, we had these big final exams where they tested a bunch of concepts from the most recent blocks, but also from like the previous blocks that you might have done earlier in the year or the year before. Having everything here sort of helped you prioritize. I'm not just going to study one system, but I'm going to look at all the systems and try to figure out what I'm most weak on, and then start from there and move forward. So again, you can do the same sort of thing where you assigned it by different difficulties, or maybe you wanted to organize it by subjects and only focus on doing pharmacology related lectures for the time being, or anatomy lectures for the time being. And in terms of making a study tracker like this, it's quite simple. You just click /table, and I want to make a table inline. So the table comes up here, and let's call this study tracker. And I want to do what I did before. So I want to have a column where I have the week. So I'm going to make the week a select option. That'll go at the front. And then I want to have what class type it was, class type. And then I want to have the title of it. Then I want to have what subject it falls under, and then date of last review. So I'm going to put this as a date, total number of reviews, difficulty as a number, and then I'll put the notes themselves. So then I'm going to assign this as week 1. So my week 1 content can go here, week 2 content, this will be, I can have different types of classes. So this might be a lecture, or it could be a seminar. And so say in week 1, I have a few lectures. I add something here, move this up, because this will come in week 1. And then I have 2 lectures. So lecture 1, introduction. Lecture 2, forearm anatomy. I know that these are going to be subjects of anatomy, so I can put these subjects in here. And I did 1 review on each of them, and I did them today. And so if you go along and you know what lectures that are coming up in the week, write them all down, fill them all in, pre-do them all. Because I'm studying medicine, we do a bunch of different subjects. You might be only taking a specific set of subjects like chemistry or physics or biology. So having a tab like this subject is not too useful. You might just have a study tracker for your chem lectures. You might just have a study tracker for your physics lectures. But organizing it by weeks, knowing what the class type is, how many times you've done them, it's a useful tool when you go look back onto everything, that you know where to prioritize your time, especially when you're studying for finals. That's really the bulk of how I use Notion, having my task list and also using it for any of my medical school related stuff. One thing that I use Notion a lot for is YouTube. So full credit to Ali Abdal for showing me this video board way of organizing all your different videos. You sort of have like your video ideas, those that are planned, writing in progress, ready to film. So this Notion's setup video is what I'm currently filming, and then videos that I've got edited. And then eventually the goal is to move them over slowly from left to right and then move them to the publish section. So with these videos that I've got planned, I can open them up and start writing some notes on terms of the script, the storyboarding, or what I want to talk about. And I found it a really useful visual way to see the progress that you're making with each video moving along this pipeline. And this type of board-like layout is really useful, not just for how I've applied it for this YouTube stuff, but also for writing your to-do lists, for any projects that you're working on. Seeing the progress that you're making and moving them along a pipeline is a very satisfying and enjoyable thing. So the next thing that I have here is my tutoring page, and this is the same calendar that I use in the Life operating system over here, except it only shows anything that's been labeled with tutoring. So when you go back to the tutoring board, you can choose how to filter it, and it only shows if it's been allocated as a tutoring session. And so right now I haven't been too busy because GAMSAT's not until September, and also I've just been busy with rotation, so I haven't had all the time to take as many students on. During more busy periods, being able to separate your calendar from all the tasks that you might be having during the week, and then only seeing specific tutoring classes when you're trying to work out, okay, Wednesday's my big tutoring day, or I might have a few on Saturday or Sunday. I find that's a really useful function within Notion, being able to link different calendars. So if you don't want to look at it in its entire view, you're able to sort it and organize it to only show you what you want to see. And some other things I like Notion for is my little personal journal. I'm not going to show all the little things that I write about. So as much as I can, I'll write down little snippets of the day, some of my thoughts, how I felt about certain things. And so over time, you sort of make this digital diary for yourself, and it's really nice looking back to like a year ago about what you were thinking during exam period or during some stressful time, and how like you've nothing to worry about now because everything sort of sorted itself out. And so to make a diary like this, I'll just show you a copy version. And if I wanted to write down what I did today, so this was a lazy Sunday featuring Notion. So it's today's date, and I have a little formula here, so it'll automatically put Sunday. And so I like to have 3 words that I describe the day. So I'm gonna put I was generally happy, I felt accomplished, and it was a chill day. So I have those little things there, and then I have a little tick here if it was something special. And the reason why I do this is that when you have your database later on, if you have 200, 300 entries, you can organize it to show only the entries where you clicked something special. And so if you wanted a little bit of a cheer up because you're having a day, you can read up all your little journal entries where you wrote something nice or you did something awesome that day. And so then you can, and then I like write down my little thoughts. And then what's cool about it is I like to add a little cover, and I'll upload a photo from the day so I can sort of remember it. And then when I'm looking at my visual diary at the end, I can see all my little pictures of all the things that I do. So that's pretty much it for my entire Notion setup. I hope it gave you some inspiration through creating your own pages, for organizing your notes when it comes to university or for work. Big thanks again to Notion for sponsoring this video, and be sure to check out the links in the description below to sign up and try out the app for yourself. It's honestly revolutionized the way that I organize my notes, my tasks, everything for med school. I feel like it's made me more efficient, more productive, and I really like all the little personalization features and how you can sort of make your dashboard and your workspace your own. And if you want to see more Notion content or a little bit confused about anything that I showed in the video, be sure to leave me a question in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And until next time, this is Sebastian. Stay sharp.